There is a cruel online trend growing that is targeted at family and friends who are mourning their loved ones. This trend is called RIP trolling. The most recent case is the tragic story of 15-year-old Thomas Mullaney. Thomas Mullaney is on the left of this video. He was described as cheerful, energetic and playful by his loved ones.
Thomas, very sprightly lad, very energetic, very playful, could be a handful, as we found out, you know, when he was younger growing up. Always had a cheeky smile, always playing with different people.
Thomas was an energetic child. He loved his football and he loved a social life with the girls that he made friends with.
An incident that happened at school started when a student who had never got on well with Thomas kicked him in the corridor.
There was incidents that had spread onto Facebook and involving a year 9 student, and it was just getting all out of hand on Facebook with other people commenting about the situation that they knew nothing about.
But then apparently the year 7 had gone home, told his parents that Thomas had actually strangled him. He's got a mark around his throat. When they'd done an investigation, the teacher said no, there was no such thing happened in the corridor. It was just a push and shoving. At
that point I had a phone call from the year head who said that she couldn't get to the bottom of things, but now she'd had the parent on the phone and she'd actually got the parent in the office accusing Thomas of strangling this year 7. And Mrs Cunningham said, I believe Thomas, make sure he knows that I believe him, and we'll sort it out tomorrow. We went to that meeting on the night, Robert and I, and left Thomas at home, but Thomas was so upset that he'd been accused of doing something that he hadn't even done. He was just going frantic at the situation.
On the evening of the meeting that the Mullaneys had with the headmistress at Tom's school, Thomas spent the evening in his room on Facebook. His dad explains what happened that evening.
But this one particular boy, he's got on the internet site and he's starting to use threatening language. It was on a one-to-one basis at first, whereas on the internet site you can have a live chat which only that person and yourself can have, and it's private, and that's where it stopped until the other kid, the year 9 student, transferred onto the main wall, which then everyone can see. And then all his friends, there's about 6 or 7 of them, started to chip in, saying it was Thomas that was the bully and Thomas deserved a good beating.
2 hours later we come back and Thomas wasn't in the house.
At some point that night, Thomas committed suicide at the bottom of his garden. He hanged himself behind the shed. It was morning when his dad found him.
At first I just thought he was mucking about, standing on something, just looking down at me. I couldn't, I thought, come on you little, I'm late for work, and I walked away. He didn't come, so I went back, and then my eyes got adjusted to the darkness, and so I could see more. And I just noticed that he wasn't standing on anything. And I just couldn't get my head around it. And I grabbed his little hand, and I just came away. And I came back up the path and phoned the police. By that time Trace was in the kitchen and she just broke down and screamed because she knew that something had gone wrong. We don't know when he done it or what time he come back. All I know is, this should never have happened. He was big enough, he was strong enough, he had loads of friends, loads of parents, loads of people who could look after him. He knew he could talk to people. But that concentration on that night was so intense for his little brain, it couldn't comprehend. And whether he meant to do it or not, the end result is what they said to him had got to him. And he hung himself.
Thomas had been the victim of cyberbullying and committed suicide on the 22nd of May 2010. This picture frequently accompanies trolling activities on the internet. A troll is someone who deliberately causes controversy. A troll will post offensive material with a complete disregard for empathy and sympathy. Their goal is to inflict emotional pain and provoke a reaction. They will stop at nothing and even go as far as terrorising grieving families.
Something's been started and it needs to stop. They destroy the feelings of people that are grieving and they get a kick out of it for one reason or another.
Friends and family created memorial pages on the social networking site Facebook, and it was here that the trolls started posting offensive material.
What they've done in Thomas's case, there's about 3 or 4 photos which people from school put on there, and they've altered them. One with a noose around his neck, one with some very vile graphical messaging across his chest and put back on there. And there's one very, very vile, disgusting photograph. It's too disgusting really to describe. Of somebody, want of a better word, going to the toilet in one of the pictures. And I couldn't get my head around it. No one can. What's these people? Who are they? What they doing?
Whitney Phillips is a PhD student studying transgressive humour online, particularly within online trolling subcultures. Via Skype, she spoke about having worked closely with trolls online.
The vast majority of RIP trolling is actually directed at people who don't know the deceased. Trolls are self-identifying, so they know that they identify as being trolls, and the behaviors they engage in are designed to elicit an emotional response from the intended target or victim. That what they do and what they try to do is make the most people angry as they can. They want to elicit a response. And so they tend to go for the most taboo subjects, the most offensive topics.
Bear in mind, my son's just passed away, trying to get rid of these vile, disgusting photographs, because everybody can see them. All my family can see them, all his friends can see them, everyone can see them. And I don't know why these people do that. They must have something mentally wrong with them, or that they've got some sort of vile, disgusting mentality.
In my experience, the trolls I've talked to, they feel about memorial pages the way they would feel if they were walking down the street and someone was holding an actual funeral or memorial service for someone. They think, this is public. Why are you inserting your personal private drama into the public sphere? This is not where it belongs. And again, that's an assumption on their part that people should behave in certain ways online.
A troll who goes by the name Mikey spoke about his behaviour on the internet. He says,
"There's no real desire to inflict pain, and my behaviour is no different on here than it is offline. I joke with people, piss them off, action and reaction."
When asked about whether he realises the effect his words have on people, he said,
"It's a two-way street. The effects of other people's banal drivel and lack of common sense are far-reaching."
And finally, what he thinks should be done to eliminate the work of trolls.
In all honesty, log off.
I think that from an entirely practical standpoint, the best way to deal with trolling is log off the computer, practically speaking. I think that trolling is a huge part of internet behavior and a huge part of internet culture, and realistically, I don't think that there's very much anyone can do to stop the behaviours.
We don't know nothing about trolling. We'd never heard of it before. It's just since we've been doing interviews that we've gathered information, and we would like some sort of legislation put into place because these people need to be traced.
Facebook aren't interested, or weren't interested at the time. I don't think any security measures have changed.
Since Thomas's death in May of last year, Facebook have introduced new procedures to stop the creation of fake profiles.
The changes came into being or started slowly revealing themselves in October of 2010. And since Christmas time, accounts don't last more than a couple of days at most. But before then, you could have an account that lasted a couple of months at a time. Facebook's policies have been very, very effective. And they have some kind of algorithm or series of algorithms that they're running to determine what profiles look like fake profiles and what profiles look like troll profiles, and they ban them like that. And Facebook really is doing everything, if not if not more, than what they could or should be doing. And the only thing that they really can do is, again, flag users that they regard as trolls and get rid of them. But they can do whatever they want. Trolls will find a way around whatever restrictions. Unless people are willing to create a worldwide, like, internet Interpol, I don't know how it could be regulated. And so that's not to say that there couldn't or shouldn't be some regulation, but that it would be almost impossible to enforce.
It seems the Mullaneys want to see more done, but that may not be possible.
It's here to stay, it's never going to go away, but it needs some basic law to put into place to say that anybody uses threatening behaviour or causes any kind of mental distress to people, that they should be prosecuted.
It has been said the best way to defeat trolls is to ignore them. But is it realistic to expect young children who don't have the maturity and experience of adults to ignore such abusive and offensive words on the internet? This is an ongoing problem that will be difficult to regulate and control, but as for right now, the best thing to do is not to get involved. If you feel you must respond, report the trolls' behaviour and warn others against them.